Goodreads is an Amazon company and social cataloging website founded in December 2006 and launched in January 2007 by Otis Chandler II, a software engineer and entrepreneur, and Elizabeth Chandler. Otis Chandler II is the grandson of Otis Chandler, who was the publisher of the Los Angeles Times, and is the great-great-great-grandson of Harrison Gray Otis, the newspaper's founder. The website allows individuals to freely search Goodreads' extensive user-populated database of books, annotations, and reviews. Users can sign up and register books to generate library catalogs and reading lists. They can also create their own groups of book suggestions, surveys, polls, blogs, and discussions. In December 2007, the site had over 650,000 members and over 10 million books had been added. As of July 2012, the site reported 10 million members, 20 million monthly visits, and 30 employees. On July 23, 2013, it was announced on their website that the user base had grown to 20 million members, having doubled in close to 11 months. The website's offices are in San Francisco. On March 28, 2013, Amazon announced its acquisition of Goodreads for an undisclosed amount. History: the Chandlers created Goodreads in 2006. Goodreads' stated mission is to help people find and share books they love, and to improve the process of reading and learning throughout the world. During its first year of business, the company was run without any formal funding. In December 2007, the site received funding estimated at $750,000 from angel investors. This funding lasted Goodreads until 2009, when Goodreads received $2 million from True Ventures. In October 2010, the company opened its API, which enabled developers to access its ratings and titles. Goodreads also receives a small commission when a user clicks over from its site to an online bookseller and makes a purchase. In 2011, Goodreads acquired Discovereads, a book recommendation engine that employs machine learning algorithms to analyze which books people might like, based on books they've liked in the past and books that people with similar tastes have liked. After a user has rated 20 books on its 5-star scale, the site will begin making recommendations. Otis Chandler believed this rating system would be superior to Amazon's, as Amazon's includes books a user has browsed or purchased as gifts when determining its recommendations. Later that year, Goodreads introduced an algorithm to suggest books to registered users and had over 5 million members. The New Yorker's Macy Harford noted that the algorithm wasn't perfect, as the number of books needed to create a perfect recommendation system is so large that by the time a unregistered trademark D got halfway there, my reading preferences would have changed and a unregistered trademark D have to start over again. In October 2012, Goodreads announced it had grown to 11 million members with 395 million books catalogued and over 20,000 book clubs created by its users. Only 1 month later, in November 2012, Goodreads had surpassed 12 million members, with the member base having doubled in 1 year. Amazon.com announced in March 2013 that it had reached an agreement to acquire Goodreads in the second quarter of 2013 for an undisclosed sum. Features: on the Goodreads website, users can add books to their personal bookshelves, rate and review books, see what their friends and authors are reading, participate in discussion boards and groups on a variety of topics, and get suggestions for future reading choices based on their reviews of previously read books. Once a user has added friends to his/her profile, he will see the friends shelves and reviews and can comment on friends pages. Goodreads features a rating system of 1 to 5 stars, with the option of accompanying the rating with a written review. The site provides default bookshelf as a read, currently reading, to read a and the opportunity to create customized shelves to categorize a user's books. It also offers quizzes and trivia, quotations, book lists, and free giveaways. Members can receive the regular newsletter featuring new books, suggestions, author interviews, and poetry. If a user has written a work, the work can be linked on the author's profile page, which also includes an author's blog. Goodreads organizes offline opportunities as well, such as IRL book exchanges and literary pub crawls. The website facilitates reader interactions with authors through the interviews, giveaways, authors' blogs, and profile information. There is also a special section for authors with suggestions for promoting their works on Goodreads.com, aimed at helping them reach their target audience. Already 17,000 authors, including James Patterson and Margaret Atwood, use Goodreads to advertise. Additionally, Goodreads has a presence on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and other social networking sites. Linking a Goodreads account with a social networking account, like Facebook or Nerk Friends, enables the ability to import contacts from the social networking account to Goodreads, expanding one's Goodreads OE friends list. There are settings available, as well, to allow Goodreads to post straight to a social networking account, which informs, for example, Facebook friends, what one is reading or how one rated a book. This constant linkage from Goodreads to other social networking sites keeps information flowing and connectivity continuous. The Amazon Kindle Paperwhite and Kindle Voyage feature integration with Goodreads social network via a user interface button. The Shieldify app recently launched a Goodreads integration that allows users to sync their Goodreads account. Once synced using Goodreads, users can import their Goodreads collections to get either free or discounted ebooks of the print books in their collection. Future growth. Otis Chandler told TechCrunch in August 2012 that Goodreads would be building more features allowing readers to update their profiles as they read a book, and was talking to the Facebook team about building book clubs within the social network. He felt that a major reason for the recent growth in members was Goodreads' new Facebook Open Graph app. Criticism and controversy. In January 2012, Goodreads switched from using Amazon's public product advertising API for book metadata to book wholesaler Ingram. Goodreads felt Amazon's requirements for using its API were too restrictive, and the combination of Ingram, the Library of Congress, and other sources would be more flexible. However, some users worried that their reading records would be lost. However, Goodreads had a number of plans in place to ease the transition and ensure that no data was lost, even for titles that might be in danger of deletion because they were available only through Amazon, such as Kindle editions and self-published works on Amazon. In May 2013, as a result of Goodreads' acquisition by Amazon, Goodreads began using Amazon's data again. Goodreads has received criticism from users about the availability and tone of reviews posted on the site. Some users and websites have stated that certain reviewers were harassing and encouraging attacks on authors. Goodreads publicly posted their review guidelines in August 2012 to address these issues. In September 2013, Goodreads announced a new anti-bullying policy which authorized the removal of abusive content throughout the site, sparking a great deal of controversy among authors and readers. Several news sources reported the announcement, noting Amazon's business reasons for the move. Where authors were threatening a mass account cancellation to protest the bullying, many of the reader users who commented on the announcement are now threatening the same thing. And while much of this might seem like nothing more than petty playground behavior between children who honestly do not have a clear good guy or bad guy, keep in mind that several ebook retailers incorporate the Goodreads unregistered trademark API into their sales pages, effectively posting book reviews that many in the Goodreads community know to be false, and nothing more than an act of revenge against an author. Real-world sales decisions have been made by consumers based on these reviews. Reader's Choice Awards. The Reader's Choice Awards is a yearly award program, first launched on Goodreads in 2009. Users are able to nominate books of their choosing, released in the given year. The final voting round collects the top 10 books from 20 different categories. 2009 Best All-Time Favorite, Catching Fire, by Suzanne Collins, Best Fiction, The Help, by Catherine Stockett, Best Non-Fiction, Columbine, by Dave Cullen, Best Mystery Thriller, The Girl Who Played with Fire, by Stieg Larsson, Best Fantasy, Dead and Gone, by Charlene Harris, Best Science Fiction, Leviathan, by Scott Westerfeld, Best Chick Lit, The Last Song, by Nicholas Sparks, Best Romance, An Echo in the Bone, by Diana Gabaldon, Best Young Adult Fiction, Along for the Ride, by Sarah Dessen, Best Young Adult Series, Catching Fire, by Suzanne Collins, Best Graphic Novel, Batman Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader, by Neil Gaiman, Best Children's, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days, by Jeff Kinney, Best Picture Book, Blueberry Girl, by Neil Gaiman. 2010 Favorite Book, Mockingjay, by Suzanne Collins, Best Fiction, Room, by Emma Donoghue, Best Mystery Thriller, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, by Stieg Larsson, Best Fantasy, Towers of Midnight, by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, Best Paranormal Fantasy, Dead in the Family, by Charlene Harris, Best Science Fiction, Feed, by Myra Grant, Best Romance, Lover Mine, by J.R. Ward, Best Historical Fiction, Fall of Giants, by Ken Follett, Best Graphic Novel, Twilight the Graphic Novel, by Stephanie Meyer, Best Poetry, Come On All You Ghosts, by Matthew Zapruder, Best Non-Fiction, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, by Rebecca Skloot, Best History and Biography, The Tudors, by G.J. Mayer, Best Memoir and Autobiography, Unbearable Lightness, by Portia de Rossi, Best Humor, Bite Me, A Love Story, by Christopher Moore, Best Young Adult Fiction, Before I Fall, by Lauren Oliver, Best Young Adult Fantasy, Mockingjay, by Suzanne Collins, Best Middle Grade and Children's Books, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Ugly Truth, by Jeff Kinney, Best Picture Book, It's a Book, by Lane Smith, Best Debut Author, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, by Rebecca Skloot, Best Goodreads Author, Spirit Bound, by Rochelle Mead, Best Cover Art, Torment, by Lauren Kate. 2011 Favorite Book, Divergent by Veronica Roth, Best Fiction, 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami, Best Mystery Thriller, Smokin' 17 by Janet Ivanovich, Best Historical Fiction, The Paris Wife by Paula McLean, Best Fantasy, A Dance with Dragons by Georgia R. Martin, Best Paranormal Fantasy, Shadow Fever by Karen Marie Munning, Best Science Fiction, 1163 by Stephen King, Best Horror, Graveminder by Melissa Marr, Best Romance, Lover Unleashed by J.R. Ward, Best Humor, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, Best Non-Fiction, The Geeks Shall Inherit the Earth by Alexandra Robbins, Best History and Biography, Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, Best Memoir and Autobiography, Two Kisses for Maddie, A Memoir of Loss and Love by Matthew Lochlin, Best Food and Cooking, My Father's Daughter by Gwyneth Paltrow, Best Travel and Outdoors, Little Princes, One Man's Promise to Bring Home the Lost Children of Nepal by Conor Grennan, Best Young Adult Fiction, Where She Went by Gail Forman, Best Young Adult Fantasy and Science Fiction, Divergent by Veronica Roth, Best Middle Grade and Children's Books, The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan, Best Picture Book, When I Grow Up by Weird Al Yankovic, Best Graphic Novels and Comics, Vampire Academy, the graphic novel by Rochelle Mead, Best Poetry, Horoscopes for the Dead by Billy Collins, Best Goodreads Author, City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. 2012 Best Fiction, The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, Best Mystery Thriller, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, Best Historical Fiction, The Light Between Oceans by M. L. Stedman, Best Fantasy, The Dark Tower, The Wind Through the Keyhole by Stephen King, Best Paranormal Fantasy, Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness, Best Science Fiction, The Long Earth by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter, Best Romance, 50 Shades Freed by E. L. James, Best Horror, The 12 by Justin Cronin, Best Memoir and Autobiography, Wild from Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail by Cheryl Strayed, Best Non-Fiction, Quiet the Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop. Talking by Susan Cain, Best Food and Cookbooks, The Pioneer Woman Cooks, Recipes from an Accidental Country Girl by Ree Drummond, Best Humor, Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson, Best Graphic Novels and Comics, The Walking Dead Volume 16, A Larger World by Robert Kirkman, Best Poetry, A Thousand Mornings by Mary Oliver, Best Goodreads Author, Insurgent by Veronica Roth, Best Young Adult Fiction, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Best Young Adult Fantasy, Insurgent by Veronica Roth, Best Middle Grade and Children's, The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan, Best Picture Books, Olivia and the Fairy Princesses by Ian Falconer. 2013 Best Fiction, And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. Best Mystery and Thriller, Inferno by Dan Brown. Best Historical Fiction, Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. Best Fantasy, The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Best Paranormal Fantasy, Cold Days by Jim Butcher. Best Science Fiction, Mod Adam by Margaret Atwood. Best Romance, Lover at Last by J.R. Ward. Best Horror, Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. Best Memoir and Autobiography, I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. Best History and Biography, Jim Henson. The Biography by Brian J. Jones. Best Non-Fiction, The Autistic Brain, Thinking Across the Spectrum by Temple Grandin and Richard Panik. Best Food and Cookbooks, To Kill a Mockingbird, Cocktails with a Literary Twist by Tim Fiedel. Best Humor, Hyperbole and a Half by Ali Brosh. Best Graphic Novels and Comics, Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia, Margaret Stohl and artist Cassandra Jean. Best Poetry, The Fall of Arthur by J.R.R. Tolkien. Best Debut Goodreads Author, Emma Chase, author of Tangled. Best Young Adult Fiction, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Best Young Adult Fantasy, Allegiant by Veronica Roth. Best Middle Grade and Children's, The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. Best Picture Books, The Day the Crayons Quit by Drew DeWalt and Oliver Jeffers. 2014 Best Fiction, Landline by Rainbow Rowell. Best Mystery and Thriller, Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. Best Historical Fiction, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Best Fantasy, The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. Best Romance, Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. Best Science Fiction, The Martian by Andy Weir. Best Horror, Prince Lestat by Anne Rice. Best Humor, Yes Please by Amy Puer. Best Non-Fiction, The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. Best Memoir and Autobiography, This Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earle. Best History and Biography, The Romanov Sisters by Helen Rappaport. Best Business Books, Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso. Best Food and Cookbooks, Make It Ahead, The Barefoot Contessa Cookbook by Ina Garten. Best Graphic Novels and Comics, Serenity Leaves on the Wind by Zach Houghton, Far Bio Moon and Daniel Dos Santos. Best Poetry, Lullabies by Lang Lev. Best Debut Goodreads Author, Pierce Brown, author of Red Rising. Best Young Adult Fiction, We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Best Young Adult Fantasy, City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. Best Middle Grade and Children's, The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. Best Picture Book, The Pigeon Needs a Bath by Mo Willems. 2015 Best Fiction, Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. Best Mystery and Thriller, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Best Historical Fiction, The Nightingale by Kristin Hanna. Best Young Adult, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Best Memoir and Autobiography, A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. Best Poetry, The Dogs I Have Kissed by Trista Mateer. Best Humor, Why Not Me? by Mindy Kaling. Best Non-Fiction, Modern Romance, An Investigation by Aziz Ansari and Eric Klinenberg. Best History and Biography, Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania by Eric Larson. Best Science and Technology, Beneath the Surface, Killer Whales, Sea World, and The Truth Beyond Blackfish by John Hargrove. Best Romance, Confess by Colleen Hoover. Best Science Fiction, Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. Best Fantasy, Trigger Warning, Short Fictions and Disturbances by Neil Gaiman. Best Horror, Saint Odd by Dean Kowans. Best Graphic Novels and Comics, Saga, Volume 4 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Best Food and Cookbooks, The Pioneer Woman Cooks, Dinner Time by Ree Drummond. Best Young Adult Fantasy and Science Fiction, Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Best Middle Grade and Children's, The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. Best Picture Book, The Day the Crayons Came Home by Drew DeWalt and Oliver Jeffers. Best Debut Goodreads Author, Victoria Aveyard, author of Red Queen. See also, Library 2.0. The concept behind Goodreads and similar sites, A. Nobir, Book Army, Bookish, Dauben, I Dream Books, Library Thing, Shilfari. References. Bibliography, Keegan, Victor Keegan. It's a new online chapter for books. The Guardian. Ma copyright Ndes, Teresa. Peer-to-peer book reviews for La Niche. The Christian Science Monitor. Roy, Nilanjana S. The world's largest reading room. Business Standard. Sharrock, Catherine. Top 10 websites of 2007 inches. Time magazine. External links, official website.